Guys, so welcome to Sew with Ara. So today we want to do drafting. We are moving bit by bit. So today what we want to do is to draft. Okay, so now before we draft, we've done measurements. At least you all should know how to take measurements, and you know we have vertical and horizontal measurements. And for your horizontal measurements, I mean the roundness of your body, you know that you divide whatever you have, you divide it by 4. Do you understand? So now, first thing first, before we go and draft anything on paper, let's understand what we are doing with our measurements. So what we'll be using to understand our measurement today is a croquis, a body figure, so that we understand everything that we are doing with our measurements. So when we want to measure, we call this vertical measurement, and we call whatever you take like this horizontal measurement. So now let's deal with vertical measurements first. We understand that vertical measurements are points, and is the way you take it on your clients. That's how you use it. That one is pretty straightforward. It's the way you take your vertical measurements on your clients. That's how you use it. Except you want to add M allowance, and sewing allowance. Joining allowance. So the only thing you are adding to these measurements that you take on your clients is what you use to join it on the shoulder, and if it is top, the hemming allowance, what you use to take it in, and if it is a gown, the hem allowance, what you use to hem it at the bottom. So all these other points is the same way you take it on your clients. That's how you use it. Okay, that's pretty simple. Now our focus today is on horizontal measurement. Now, how do we use our horizontal measurement? Our body is basically divided into 4. The number of places you can divide our body into is 4. Do you understand? So for the front, you can divide it into 2 equal halves, and for the back, let me see if I have the back, and for the back, you can also divide the back up to 2 equal halves. Do you get? So that is why whatever measurements you take, you divide it into 4. Whatever measurement, you divide it into 4. That means 2 half for the back and 2 half for the front. So if you are wondering why you are dividing your measurements by 4, this is the reason. So another thing is, it's not practically all measurements that you take horizontally that you divide into 4. Do you get? The ones that you divide into 4 is the bust, the waist, the hip. From this point to, let's say, the knee or the hem, in case of gown, whatever you take on this point, you are dividing it into 4. So the one that you are not dividing into 4 are the shoulder, this back that you used to measure, you divide it by 2. And why are we dividing this by 2 and not 4? Because you are just taking from this point to this point. You did not take the full circle. That is why we are dividing this into 2 and not 4. Do you get? Another place that you are dividing into 2 is the lap. Okay, the lap, you divide it by 2. Maybe you are making trouser and you wonder why you divide your lap by 2. So whatever you are taking, it's not like you took the whole 4 and you have to divide the whole 2 and you have to divide it. You're taking this one. It's just this one that you used to make for this one. So this one is just what you will divide into front and back, that you used to make this front and back too. I hope that is straightforward enough. And again, the hand also is just like the tie. You are taking for just this hand. So because you are taking for just this hand, whatever you take here, you are dividing by 2. So it's that 2 that you used to make for this both hands. I hope you get now. Okay, so these are the measurements that you take and divide by 2: the lap, the hand, and the shoulder. That's the back. And again, if you are taking across front, maybe you need measurement for this place, like this point to this point, you are dividing it by 2. And across back too, for some cases, maybe you are taking measurement from here to here for the back, you are dividing it by 2. I hope you understand my point now. So now that we have established the reason we are dividing our measurement by 2, what do we do with our measurement? After getting your measurements, you start drafting. Now for the neck, because that's where we start the manipulation and everything. For the neck, for basic neck, we have a formula that we use for basic neck, which differs from people to people. Do you understand? To get your neck, your basic neck, normally we use 3 by 3. Normally So that's the general or the average basic neckline. So three for the front now. So you use three here for the width and you use three for the depth. Okay, so when you form your square, you can now draw your neckline like this for like generally. But then there are times that what works for me might not work for you. If you use this 3 by 3 for somebody that has a very thick neck, it will be tight. It won't work for the person. Do you get? So now there is a formula that you can use to get your neck depth and neck width. Is the formula that you use to get your neck depth and your neck width. So you take your bust, whatever you have for your bust, you divide it by 12. Bust divided by 12. So this one, if you are using this formula, you can then get the different neck, the different basic neck measurement for different people. Do you understand? So this is how you get your basic neck measurement. Like for my case, now if I use 3 by 3, it is okay for me because I'm very slim. Very, very slim. So if I now say because me I'm slim, I need to work for someone that is fat that has a thicker neck. If I use the same thing, it will be tight for the person. So let's say somebody has neck of bust of 40. So you know that what you do to get your neck width and depth is to divide that 40 by 12, and then you have your neck depth and neck width. So whatever you get here, the same thing that you use for the depth and the wideness of the neck. Okay, so that is it. Now let's start doing our mock-up. So if you want to draft, for me, it's not necessary, but then for me, I like to draw my border lines on both sides, both the upper side and the side. So this is the side, the center of whatever I'm going to draft, and this is the upper part, the starting point. So this is the starting point. Now let's start. Let's say we want to draft now for shoulder of let's say the shoulder is 12, bust 30, shoulder 12, bust 30, and waist 25, hip 32. Okay, so like I said, when you want to draft, make sure that you have your measurement divided down so that it's not when you are working that you be carrying calculator and all of that stuff. So you know that for shoulder of 12, what you are taking is 6 because shoulder is divided by what? By 2. And then for bust, this one is divided by 4. So for bust 30, you are using 7.5 on your tape measure. And for waist, you divide that 2 by 4. So you know that you are using what's it now? 12 and 6.25. That's 6.25 for the waist, and then for the hip, you are using 7.5 for the hip too. So now these are the measurements that we'll be working with, and we are drafting a top for now. So the length of the top is, let's say, 24. Though this one cannot take 24, but let's say 24. So now this is the horizontal measurement. This is horizontal measurement, and this is vertical measurement. You know that you're using 24 that you take here. Like 24 is 24 for vertical measurement. And for the bust point, let's say the bust point is 9, and waist is 14, and then hip is 24. Do you understand? So now you are taking shoulder at the shoulder point. You are taking 7 at 9. You are taking 6 at 14. You are taking 7.5 at 24. So these are the vertical and the horizontal measurements that we are using for this one. So now let's start drafting. For this now, let's say now for this person, let's do the neck measurement. So that will be 30 divided by 12. So 30 divided by 12 is 2.5. So when you have a kid safe, maybe you have somebody that is not adult that you want to make clothes for, this one can be helpful to get your neck measurements for them. Okay, so now in this case, either you use this 2.5 or you use the normal 3. Do you get? But if you want to be sure, you can use 2.5. Both will work. So now let's use our 2.5. That's what we got from. But you know the normal distance is 3 inches. So you take 2.5 width, and then you take 2.5 depth, and then again 2.5 and 2.5. So you can now square the box. You can square it now so that you will have your square. So after doing this, you can now draw your neckline like this, and if you want to use your hand too, That's also fine. Do you see? So now after this, let's go to the shoulder. The shoulder for this person is 6. This is not actual measurement, we are just using this for this illustration sake. Now you hear that after taking your shoulder measurement, come down by what? Come down by 1. That, but why are we coming down by 1? Why are we coming down by 1? So ideally, if you look at this person, let's call this person a person. It's not a person, but we'll call it a person. But then if you look at the shoulder is not straight, because this is the straight line that the shoulder is starting from. You now see that this thing is slant up like this. It's not straight. So that is why, to get this kind of shape for the shoulder, that is why we are coming down by 1. And it is not, though 1 is generally 1 works fine for everybody, but we have different body figure. There are some people that have straighter shoulder, so you have to also consider your client. But on general note, 1 works for everyone, so we are using 1. So now you now connect this point. So make sure that what you have here is what you have up. So make sure you have 6 here and 6 on the distance. So it is 6. So now you will now connect from this point to the neck point. Do you get? Are you following? So you now connect it from here to here. We are moving now. So now after the shoulder, the next thing you might want to do is to get your armhole. So to get your armhole depth, when you measure your armhole round on your customer or your client, whatever you get from that, you are dividing it by 2. So that's another point, that we divide by 2 when we are using the measurement. So now let's say I measured 12 as my armhole round. What you want to do is just to divide that 12 by 2. Or if you do not measure the armhole on your client, there is a formula that you can use. That is first over 2, whatever you get, minus 2, and everything now you now divide it by 2. What am I saying? For this measurement, bust is 30. So 30 over 2. 30 over 2 is 15. So 15 minus 2 is what? 15 minus 2 is what now? 13. So this 13, you now divide it by 2. That is it. That is your armhole length. So now you now know that from here, from this point downward, you are using what? 6.5 for your armhole length. You are using 6.5. So now from that 6.5 point, the vertical distance from this one from here to here is 6. So now to get this place, you now measure what you have here, which is 6 also. So this is from here to here is 6.5. From here to here is 6. Now you draw your line. You draw your line to meet each other. So draw this one across like this, and draw this one too from the top. From the top here, from this shoulder point, you draw it to come and meet this place. Can you see? So this is your chest line. This one now. This is going to be your chest line. Chest line or armhole line. Okay, so now we are not done with the armhole. Do you understand? First thing you want to do is to come to this armhole. What do we have from this point to this point? If you are following me, in this case we have 6.5. So you will hear that whatever you had armhole, divide it by 2 and take ½ inch inside. That is what we know. But why are we doing this? If you don't know the reason, you will not know how to adjust it for different people. Okay, so now why are we taking this thing in? Do you know that sometimes when you wear clothes, because of the way this place is not flat like that. So when you do it straight like this, sometimes there are excesses around this area. In short, it's just that excess that is always here when you wear clothes. That is what we want to remove, so that this place will be tighter. You know, if you remove from this place now, you have reduced the amount of clothes that is here, so that when the hand joins this place, that place will fit. There won't be excess. So excess that should have remained here, that is what we are taking out, and it's different for different people. Do you understand? So now, on this armhole line or chest line, you now take the bust measurement, and the bust measurements we are using here is 30, and 30 divided by 4, we have 7.5. Do you see? So now the next point we are connecting is shoulder to this point and to this point. So now let's do it. First, you can just connect your shoulder to this point so that it will be easy. Shoulder to the point, then from that point you connect to where your chest line is. So now you connect it like this. Do you understand? So that's about the hand for front. So now let's move further. Take the remaining measurements. So I hope this hand is clear. Now after the armhole, you want to take the rest of your measurements. So now bust point, which is 9 for this particular person, and then waist is what? The waist is 14 and the length is 24. Okay, so the remaining part we are using for the length. Now for this bust, you draw your bust line. Just draw your line straight like that, and this is the waist. You draw it straight like this, and then you know that the remaining part is for the remaining part. Now for your waist divided by 4, we have what? We have 6 1/4. So you take it. Then after that 6 1/4, we take your that. So now you're going to ask, why are we taking that? And what is that? What are we using that for? I think I will make a video about that. But for this class, let me explain briefly why we are taking that. You know that when a person is standing and you're looking at the person at the side, the shape is something like this, then breast comes in, then stomach, and then straight down to the hip. Let's say it stops at the hip. Do you understand this illustration that I just did like this? Now, if you are making a cloth, no matter how you shape this place, this contour that is here, will always show if you do not take it inside. So that is why we take waist that. So on this waist, you take this space away, then now you take it back to this bust and then back down like this, so that you have a well contoured cloth at the end of the day. So the main reason we are taking this that is because, and again, for the waist, after this one, there is a contour here, and there is also a contour at the waist like this. Do you understand? There is a contour here, there is a contour at the waist. So for this place, for this thing to be balanced and there won't be tension or ruffle, when you say you want to take everything by the waist, there's a way you distribute your that in standard drafting. But in this one, all of our that is taken at this place. Do you understand? So that to make space, to make sure the clothes is not tensed. You are not pulling everything to the side. You know that sometimes we even do what is this called? That elimination. Yes, we still do that elimination, but instead of doing that elimination, if you don't mind, you can take your that on this place. Okay, so that is why we are taking waist that, so that the body will fit very well to the contour of your body, so that this place will fit very well, so that this contour will fit very well, and there won't be too much tension on the clothes when you say you want to take everything to the side. So now on your waist, you now come to nipple measurement. So now when on your clients, when you want to take the nipple to nipple, it's just this point, the apex of both first, then you take the measurement that you have. So in this case, let's say the nipple to nipple is 5, and to is 5. So 5 divided by 2, that's 2.5. So what you are taking here is 2.5. So you take it on the bust point, 2.5 on the bust point, on the waist point, on the waist point, then down to the hem of the cloth, and then connect the lines. So connect this to the waist and then waist to bust. So there is a formula for knowing the amount of that you take, but for the purpose of this class we are going with the general or the average that. So we are going by 0.5, and this works for almost everybody, but there is a formula for getting your waist that. So now, to know where this will start and stop, you come to this your bust line, and then you will come down by 1 inch for everybody, 1 inch, and then you come to this your waistline, then you come down by 5 inches. So your that length from waist downward should be 4 to 5 inches. So whatever you feel is applicable to what you are making is what you will use. So after you have done this, you now connect it up and down like this. You still do the normal drafting. So that when you are doing that one, the waist and cut close, you understand what you are doing. That will be like the second video. So you see. So these are called that legs. That leg. So that has 2 legs, and this is the first one, the second one. This is called apex. That's apex. So now from this point, then connect to this other point too. So this is it, and this is it. So after doing this, the next thing you want to do is to take your waist measurement, and for this case, the waist measurement we're using is 6 1/4. So now the first thing you do is to take your 6 1/4, and then you take your 1 inch. Okay, we've already done that, and then you come to the top length, wherever the top gets to the top length. Then you come and take your hip measurement, then you take it on your top length. So now what you want to do now is to just connect the lines, and then you are done with the front part of your bodice. Okay, so now you connect the line. You can use this straight part to connect it. And now you connect it. So when you are done, that means you are done with the front pattern. So this is what it looks like. So this is the neck, the armhole, the dart. I think I've explained that explicitly. And then this is the whole thing. Okay. So now for the back, let's assume this is the front. This is the this thing for the back. So we use this side for center back, and because I don't have plenty space, I will use my borderline as my this thing, my zipper allowance. This is just for illustration sake, so I think I can still do that. So this is me applying my zipper allowance like this. So after getting your this thing, the first thing you want to do is to grab your zipper allowance. So this is my zipper allowance, and this is my center back CB. So as you did for the front, the first thing you want to do is to construct your neck. So for the neck, you use the same width as the back. Use the same width that you use for the back. But the depth is not the same thing for basic top. The depth is not the same thing, but the wideness is the same thing. I hope you are following. So now the wideness that we use for this one is 2.5 again. So the wideness has to be the same thing, because the shoulder is joining to shoulder. You get what I mean? The wideness has to be the same thing, and the depth of back is between 1 to 1.5 or to 2 for some people for basic. Now I keep saying for basic. So for basic top, the neck depth for back is 1 to 2 inches, 1 to 1.5. Rarely would you see 2 inches, but let's say 1 to 1.5. So I'm using 1 inch, and then you connect this. You connect this together like this. Do you understand? It's as simple as that. And then you take your shoulder measurement, and the shoulder measurement for this case, you see that my measurements are starting from this line. because this is where we used to take our zip. So this place, you know, add it to your measurement. This place is for fixing zip. So that's why we call it zipper allowance. That's why we call it zipper allowance. Okay, so this is it. Now your measurements will start from here. Now 6 inch for the shoulder, and then just as you did for the front, you come down by 1 inch, and you make sure it's on 6. Okay, so make sure that 1 inch is on 6 too, and then you will connect your slant. I hope I've explained why we're having this slant. I don't need to explain it again. So now for your armhole depth, you are coming here to measure the armhole depth. You are coming to this slant to measure the armhole depth. So the armhole depth for this is what, 6.5. So you take your 6.5 here, and then you will connect it like this straight, and like I said, that will be your chest line. This is going to be your chest line. So now after that, you connect this one. So you make sure that what you have on the top is what you have here. So you are taking 6 again here, and then you connect your lines. You connect your line. And I'm taking it slow because there are a lot of things that I still want to explain for this back, and then we're still going back to the front. So please pay attention. So now you take your bust measurement, and the bust measurement for this this is what, 7.5. So you take 7.5 here. Yeah, 7.5. So now you take all your measurements. Now note that your back waist is different from your front waist. Back waist is different from the front. Why? Because your back is like this. So your bum will not start from here. So your back is something like this. And your front is something, oh god, this is the back, and your front is something like this. So now when you are, let's say this is the waist, even on paper, if I measure this one like this, and I follow the curve like this, and I follow the curve, I follow it, follow the curve, let's say 3.5 cm, 3.5 cm. I now come to the back. Let's make sure it is straight, so that there won't be draw. So I now come to the back. If I measure it, it's not even up to 3 cm. So that's just it. The protrusion of the bust here, we add to the length of the front measurement, and the back is kind of flat. It's kind of straight. So this will not be as long as this. So for this measurement, the back waist. So now when you want to measure your waist, like if you watch my video measurements, if you want to measure it's not just the waist, but it's because we are talking about waist now. I said you will tie a rope around here, that's like around the person, so that you know where the rope is at the front and at the back. So you take the same measurement. Let's say this is the shoulder, this is the shoulder. So you know that is what the length of this place to this place is the same thing as the back. Like where the waist is at the front is the same place that the waist is at the back. But the difference is just that the front is protruding like this, while the back is straight. So that your waist at the front will not be here, while the one at the back will be here. This is just a simple illustration, so that your waist at the front will not be here, while the one at the back is here. So it's still on the same line. But what makes it shorter than each other is just this protrusion of the bust. Okay. So now for this measurement, the back waist is 12. Okay, so instead of taking the same length as the front, you are taking 12 at the back. So this is 12. This is 12. This is 12, and then the rest is the length. So take your pattern master, and then you will you will connect it like this. Okay, so this is the waist, back waist, and this is the chest line for back. Okay, so now the next thing you want to do is to take your measurement. So now for the back dart will be at the same place as the front dart, and that is 2.5. So you start taking your 2.5 inches. For me, I just start on this chest line and I'll take it down to the hem of the top. So this is the hem, you take 2.5. Okay, so now you connect it straight. The reason I'm doing this is that so that when you see somebody do something, you know the reason behind what that person is doing. That's just the main reason for the explanation. So now for the back, you take the same thing, 1/2 inch on both sides, so making 1 inch. So when you want to take your waist measurement, you take the waist, which is 6.25 or 6.25. Then you had the one, this that allowance, you add it back on the side so that it will not affect your measurement. So now you connect it, and for the back, the dart leg for me is from 5 to 6. So I'm using 5, same 5 for the front and same for the back. Okay, so now you connect this to the waist, and you connect from the waist to the chest line. Can you see? And then you connect this one too. You can use the straight back part too. I'm using this part. It's still the same. So still give you, once your measurement is right, it will still give you the same distance. And then this waist is also 7.5. So you connect it back to this place. So now what you want to do is that you see this. So now let's go back to the front. Let's come back to the front. You see this bust dart is not the only that you need. This waist dart is not the only that you need for your clothes. Your bust dart is also important. It is as important as this. That the only reason you might not put bust dart in your clothes is if the clothes is not fitted. But as far as you're making a fitted top, it must have a bust dart, so it will create more room for your bust. Okay, so now let's add a bust dart. So you come to this your bust point, and then you come out by 1 inch. Let's say 1 inch, and then the difference between the front waist length and the back waist length will be the length of that you will take. What do I mean? This dart here, this is on 14. 12. This is 12, and this is what? 14. So the difference is 14 minus 12, which is equals to 2. So 14 minus 12, which is equals to 2. So is that 2 that you now take here on the side? Do you understand? Do you get? So you come here and take your dart of 2 inches. So from this point you take 2 inches. That. You see? So you are taking this piece out. And from the way I do this thing now, you see that around the bust is forming a curve. So let's now say I fold this piece. Let me fold this piece. I've folded this piece in. You see that there is something like a space that is looking like even this pattern is forming a bust point. So that's the importance of that. See that this pattern is already forming like a bust that is coming out like this. Okay, so let me close the waist dart too. So as you can see, the space is now more. It's now more. You can see the inside. See that the inside is deep. It's deep. It's like it can contain something. So that's just the importance of that intake. So it will create space for your purse to sit very well instead of plainly. So now it's forming something like a human body. So this space is going forward like the breast. This space is inside like the waist. Can you see? This space is inside like the waist and the rest of it. So that is why you need to take care of that. Look at it on. So now, what you now want to do after that is to connect. You now reconnect this your line to the chest line. You can see that initially the line is not joining, so you will connect it to the chest line, and that is all for that. So after taking this, before you get the length of the back, the length of this back pattern, you will not take the distance from this front, because if you sew it like this, let me try and show you something. If you join it like this, okay, I'll put on this one also. If you join it like this, I'm coming. If you join it like this, this will not be equal. This is the shoulder. So let's say from here now, this is the joining, right? You now join it. This back will be longer. The back will be longer. And if you're using it very well, you know that it will be longer because we have taken 2 out of this place, out of this side. So we must make sure that the front and the back have the same length at the side. Okay, so since we've taken 2 out of this one, we have to make sure that the length is the same thing. And since how we achieve this 2 is by removing this back from the front. That 14 minus 12 that we did. So once you take this, you know that from the armhole to the waist will be the same thing back. But you see that you want to use the remaining hem, the back will be longer than the front. So what you want to do now is to take your tape measure and then measure whatever you have from the waist. Okay. So you have to measure whatever length you have from here to here, so that this space will be aligned together. Do you understand? But in this case, whatever length that you measure for your top is still the same thing. You still leave it as that. You're not adding to the length, but you just make sure that the sides are aligned together. So in this case, the length between the waist and the hem is, I think, 9. So now you now come to this waist, you measure 9. So this will be the hem for the back. You measure 9 like this. So measure 9. Do you understand? So that's it. So now if you now notice, you see that if you try to align it like this space and this space will be the same thing. The sides will be the same thing together. So that is, and so now you are done with the front. You are done with the front like this. You are not doing anything to the front again, except if you want to make the side start. So if you want to make that, you come here, you measure 2, or if you want more than 2 or less than 2, that curve that is on your top, that makes your top look like the curve that makes your top look like this. That is now look like this on your body. So how to achieve it is like coming up at the side like this, and then you connect it back to the hem. Make sure it's blending perfectly to the hem. Can you see? So this is it. So now basically you are done with the front. And for the back, so the next thing you want to do now, since we've gotten the hem of our back, the next thing you want to do for the back is to contour the back. Contour the back. So now if you look at the drawing that I made for the back of humans, of a person, the normal person, you see that this place is not even straight. This place is not straight. Our back is bending inside. Do you understand? So because the back is bending inside, that is why you see that even after taking this waist, that this one that we have already taken, you still see that there are some times that your clothes will still fold at the back like this. You still have some pleat at the back. So the back bulge, you have to remove it entirely. And how do you do that? You come here, the same thing that you take by this side, you take it on the waistline, you take it up and down. That means you're taking half here and half here. It's like you're taking another dart on this place. So now you now connect this to the waist measurement. Connect this to the waist. So like this and like this. Please follow. So this one now, you now take away that clothes that is supposed to be folding at your back. You now take it away. So for this one, you can remove it. You can remove this one. You remove it and take it out like this. Like I said, you cut the dark leg. So you now close this one. Can you see? You now close this piece like this. Can you see? So this is it. You have eliminated the back bulge like that. So your clothes will fit back. If you see now, if you look at it very well, this piece is going inside. It's not straight again. This piece, there's a space that is going in here. So that's why it will fit perfectly to your back. Okay, so now you now come to the hem. That same tool that you used to take this cup for the front, you used to take it at the back too. So now come to the hem like this. Yeah. So this is what you have. So now you can now cut your clothes out like this. So now we are done with our basic top drafting. So I think I've explained everything. If you are now drafting the top gongo, you understand if I say we are taking that, we are taking what that, we are taking this one, we are taking like measurements and all of that. So thank you. Bye bye.